witch! Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
I know a spell to summon cute furry femboys!
Release the witch! Release the witch!
So Angel Engine's been kind of on my radar for quite a while. I think it's a very interesting concept, but I just think the method on which they're doing it is a bit questionable at best. I do know this is a bit of a one-off because I usually cover games, but you know, I was just doom scrolling and I just so happened to see this series. It looked very interesting and I initially thought it wasn't AI and someone was like drawing it, but apparently not. Well, I mean, the creator's username is literally unearthly.ai, so I don't know how I didn't see that coming, but yeah. But anyway, I'll just be covering the story and have my thoughts at the very end about generative AI and just how it's gonna affect indie projects and stuff like that. To give a very brief summary of the actual story so far, the first video of the series is a how-to type video. It explains how to cage an angel, which feels like a very off-putting King of Random video. Just a side note as well that I have to mention, but like the creator decided to put like a super scary, chill, scary time moment and just put the lavender theme on like 90% of his videos.
How to cage.
This is not a test, this is not a joke. It is unfortunately the truth.
Yeah. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. We have encountered some technical issues.
It does lose its effect on me anyway because it's just so damn repetitive. Like every single video is just the lavender theme in the background. It's like that one song that's kind of popular now. I think it was called like Untitled 9 by Siguros. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's like a creepy harmonic thing, but like you hear it for a couple times and you're like, oh, that's like freaky and kind of like nice. But then after like a million you know what, I'll put up a video with like that song over some random ass footage and it'll like kind of either lose or make it creepy. I don't know. This is where the very interesting premise of Angel Engine is kind of shown, since the premise is the fact that humanity is in the future, but it's like near total collapse, just due to like resource exploitation, hunting all animals to extinction or whatever, and that like literal divine intervention had to come down as a result of praying. But after the divine intervention just came down, we kind of just do what we normally do and just kind of we just kind of tax the angel's energy and just yoink it into a little, I don't know, containment cell just to siphon up all of its angel juice or something. The second and third are warnings and how-tos. So the second one is a how-to and it's a video where it's just the angel telling the viewer where you can find it. And the third is a warning that an imposter that swiped the angel's identity has rocked up and is going to do some bad things. Episode 4 covers the identity thief doing his thing and doing things that start off conflicts. He just kind of sticks his head out. And this is the episode as well that we are introduced to Dr. Jeff Ernstman, which I am going to be now referring to as Big Jeff. Episode 5 is a message from the scary version of Epic How To. Massive round of applause to the one person that understood that reference. But the video tells the viewer that the identity thief is not him and how you should not let him in the savings account. Episode 6 shows how Big Jeff is baiting the youngsters to sign up to a super cool thing that definitely isn't trying to kill you horrifically.
Nothing beats a Jet 2.
There's also an actual website you can sign up to. From what I can understand, you can actually send them an email, and I don't know if they get you back. I've seen some videos, and like, from what I can understand, they don't get back to you really. Interestingly though, there is like this new sub thing that I've just found that just says woe to you, and being the sane normal person that I am, I searched up the Super Earth lyrics for the national anthem, went back onto it and then commented that, and I don't know how it let me do that, and I just made up a I made up a fake email and whatever on the spot called Grung, or whoever's using Grung12 as an email, I'm very sorry, but yeah. Moving on to episode 7, which is the return of the Epic How To series and explains how to survive in the quote-unquote Holy Land to reach the facility where the Angel Engine is being held and taxed of all of his angel juice. Next, episode 7 is a demonstration by Big Jeff on how the Angel Engine machine actually works, as he's using a game overed guy as a test subject. But as a result of him using the Angel Engine to revive someone, it is very much implied that it very much hurts the angel and puts the angel into very big pain. Big, scary, ouchy pain. Episode 9 is an interview and a name reveal to the actual angel that is being taxed. It being Uriel, which I'm pretty sure is an actual named angel, so there you go. Meanwhile, there is a broadcasted interview, and that's with Big Jeff, and basically he's just with a news anchor, and he's just going on a whole emo phase on how he's the smartest one, and yeah, it kind of reminds me of someone, but I don't know who. Episode 10 starts off with a really creepy, cryptic kind of Big Jeff inside a big thing, but it explains that Big Jeff was being game overed by I was gonna call him Lil Jeff, but like, because he kind of looks like Jeff the Killer, but I'm just gonna go Lil Greg because I like Lil Greg. Lil Greg just sounds a bit more funny, so he gets game overed by Lil Greg. Womp womp. Moving on to episode 11, it starts with Uriel warning about the identity thief rising, probably implying that, you know, the identity thief is inhabiting and or influencing Big Jeff in some way. Probably, I'm going with like inhabiting him, because episode 12 starts off with a bit more cryptic imagery with Big Jeff revealing he has revived and showing off his new invention, the VPN angel, to protect his identity. Hey, you know who can protect your identity? NordVPN. Okay, no, I'm not gonna do that. I only have 80 subs. I'm not gonna be doing that. But it also reveals that Lil Greg also game overed himself in prison. Or did he? It's kind of implied that he was either game overed by someone else, or, you know, it was a result, or he just kind of was a vessel for the identity thief. And basically he's done with him and he just kind of abandoned Lil Greg. Episode 13 returns to the scary epic how-tos, this time showing how to awaken your Angel Engine, which, let's be real, is probably being manipulated by the identity thief, with Big Jeff not seeming like himself. Episode 14 shows a dude in paradise calling out to Big Jeff, with it revealing it's probably the identity thief, with yet another interview-like scene, with Big Jeff not seeming like himself and someone finally finding Uriel. And finally, the two new episodes, episode 15 and 16, revealing the Angel Corps, and they are a portable form of the Angel Engine. One was being showcased to the news, and he kind of just put his hand on the reporter's shoulder, and then game overs him in quite a weird way. He just kind of like put some green booger all over him, and then he's just not alive anymore. But because of the broadcasted game overing, there's a massive protest in Italy due to the fact that the Angel Corps thing game overed one of the reporters. But during the protest, someone with, let's just say, really big party poppers, and well, it popped it right next to the Angel Corps, causing damage to the crowd, but we don't really know how much damage the cores, like, or the angel, the little itty bitty angel engines, like, we don't know the damage that they received as a result of the party popper going off.
Burn the witch! Burn the witch!
I know a spell to summon goth femboys with big flying helicopter
Now, I do think the series itself is actually, like, it's a really, really cool concept, I think. But it's just the main problem with it, and I think a lot of people also would have the main problem with it being basically all AI generated. For the most part anyway, and from what I can understand, the concept and the story is original, but, you know, the guy doesn't really have, or the guy that made it probably didn't have that, like, creative spark, or just have that creative ability that, like, some other people have. So, for instance, the Walton Files being quite unique in its kind of portrayal and, like, very much handcrafted, whereas this one, basically, there were a bunch of props. I mean, you can see with each video that, like, The style is somewhat consistent, but very off. I mean, like, in episode 14, it's just a random, like, stop motion kind of animation, which, you know, it's unique, but it does feel a bit off, especially with the whole kind of, like, theme that this is going for. Because you can't really just have, like, the style that it had at the beginning, where it was, like, kind of rough drawing, a bit of, like, that, kind of old manga kind of vibes, and then immediately turn to like stop motion Jack Skellington kind of thing, you know? And that's just kind of a thing that I personally don't really like about it, is that it takes away the kind of humanity of it almost, if that makes sense. I mean, as like cyberpunk dystopian as it sounds, it does kind of remove the human factor in it, but like, on the one hand, I can see the problem, but on the other hand, I can also see some advantages to it. So like, for instance, in this case, say the person that made it didn't really have that much of an artistic, I don't know, ability, but they needed to get their message across, or did they try to get their story across, then they might as well use generative AI. Granted, this guy hasn't really kept it hidden that it was like generative AI. The fact that this guy's username, or at least his username on Instagram, is just called unearthly.ai. And just a quick side note, this guy can make really cool stuff, and he has like questions and answers on his story sometimes. But he has, like, I think he uses AI to an extent which is a bit higher than some other people, because he has, I'm guessing, an AI, or at least a bot response to anyone that says either like unearthly or another word. So his comments are like filled to the brim with people just saying unearthly. Like, I mean, I think the most recent videos have like maybe like kind of kept off of that, and people are actually like talking like normal. But but it is just filled with unearthly. But I think there is some use of using generative AI. I'd say as a tool, more like a reference. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, or I don't know if that's like the major opinion. I literally have like, I haven't done any research into like how people see generative AI. All I think personally is that like, you can use it as a tool, but I feel like posting it that as like the art doesn't really hit the same. I feel like that guy that's pointing at the wall right now, and like he looks all crazy. Like, I hope my message, or like what I'm trying to say, makes sense, where it's like, it's fine to use as some sort of like concept tool. So maybe like you're trying to think up of like a character or something, but don't have an exact idea. So maybe you gain some inspiration, a bit like when you look through Pinterest back in the day when you couldn't think of a character, or if you're writing a character and you looked on Pinterest for ideas. Whereas this one, you can just kind of like type in a prompt and it'll like turn out an idea. But then yet again, like, you know, pushing it out as the art form isn't exactly like the best practice, because like no one's technically making it. If anything, other people are making it, since, you know, AI, generative AI specifically, is trained off of other people's stuff. I mean, there was this Studio Ghibli trend that happened quite a while ago, and people were complaining about that too, just being like, well, it's technically art theft because it's just taking like images and other stuff from Studio Ghibli and just making it into whatever you want. So I know I did have to explain that twice, but like, I just really wanted to make myself clear. But just quickly moving on, and I want to wrap this up as quick as I can. I think Angel Engine itself is a really, really good like thing. It's a really interesting premise, how like, you know, people are desperate enough to like call down an angel and have like basically human greed take over. I think the fact humans always tend to like go for greed, just be big and greedy, and just kind of like siphon or tax just as much energy from somewhere as possible. But yeah, that's kind of just my piece on Angel Engine and kind of my thoughts on generative AI. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and you know, maybe I have really bad opinions on AI, or maybe that's just how everyone views AI, but yeah, no, I wouldn't know. But if you think differently, you can just like drop a comment or whatever. See ya.